Hello, and welcome to a very special gymnastics edition of the Majority Rules podcast. I am your host, Karen Steger. I am the softball and gymnastics beat writer at Rocket Nation, as well as the Olympic sports manager. And joining me is my bestest gymnastics and my confidant, Nate Salsman, who is the gymnastics beat writer at the Maneater and host of a gymnastics podcast called, what is it called? I don't want to say the wrong thing.
KCOU.
No, what is the podcast called?
The Flip Side.
The Flip Side. I knew it had something to do with flips. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, yes.
I was like, is it flipping? Is it... I didn't want to get it wrong. So, Nate, why are we here?
We're here to celebrate the announcement of Helen Hu, who, for people who don't know, competed for Mizzou from 2020 to 2023, then retired from the sport, but she did have a redshirt year, did not use it. So she did not compete at all last season, and now announced today that she is back for the 2025 season using that redshirt year that she never used. So she's back.
Which is absolutely
huge,
insane.
Yes, and shocking.
Also, now the whole gymternet reacted crazily today and last night with the teaser, I feel like,
yes,
to this news. But we've actually known this news since September 25th, which was a really long time ago. I feel like we've been holding this in forever. So I will show you guys how I found out. Okay, so this picture without the chicken scratch of who all of the people are was sent to me at the J School by an unnamed J School professor. And I really thought that I was just like, oh, I'm going to share this with Nate. Like, we're just going to, what a cool team photo. This is neat. And I'm looking at it and confused.
Well, the funny thing is that my eyes went immediately to Helen, and you had sent it to me, and you hadn't sent like a text with it yet. So I was just like, oh, this is an old team picture. Like, this is from 2022 or 2023. Because I saw Helen, I saw Jocelyn, Amari, and then I kept looking. I was like, wait, why is Kaya there? Why is Elise Tisler there?
That's right.
None of these people would have been on the team with her. I was like, what's going on? And then I
realized your messages were in all caps, and you're like, what year is this? When was this? I was like, it just happened. I was so confused. Well, and I just because you said, Helen retired. She said she was done with gymnastics in April of 2023. I was not expecting her to show up in this photo. I'm like, why don't I know who this random person is? This can't be right. What?
Yeah, it was definitely nothing we were expecting.
Yeah, so we freaked out. The gymternet definitely freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
I do wish more Mizzou people, more Mizzou media people had freaked out, but I think we freaked out enough for.
Helen Hu is one of those gymnasts where somebody could be a very big Mizzou anti and really not like Mizzou, but if you're a gymnastics fan, you like Helen Hu, and it doesn't matter who she's competing for. You just like her because of what she brings to the sport. So it was kind of the gymternet kind of all came together today to support her, and just it was great to see just how much support she had just about her coming back.
Yeah, because they were Arkansas, LSU, UCLA fans, fans from everywhere
You
was
clearly
just
support a different team, but we're
freaking
excited
out.
by this.
Yeah, we'll get to some of their reactions in a little bit. So people started to get, I think, a little bit of idea, probably on purpose, with the tease that they put out yesterday, that was just like a dark figure.
Yeah.
Emerges. And then with the background of the announcers, I think that really, like, I was like, oh, they probably meant to do that to draw up enthusiasm for it. But I wasn't thinking that people would necessarily get it. And then I know you and I were watching, like, I think people are starting to wonder.
People got it. I think they got it.
I think they got it. Yeah. And so this morning, Jackie,
she posted, "It's a great day to be a Mizzou Tiger."
Yeah. Just to get everybody going. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And then we have the actual video, which we'll just need to watch that whole thing because it's
why not?
Incredible. And whatever we can do it, we want.
I mean, there's no rules here.
What?
There's no rules here.
There's no rules here.
I realize that I have more to give for this team and to this sport. I have unfinished business. Once a tiger, always a tiger. Guess who's back?
Now one of the best in the country on this event, one that people stop to watch when she mounts the balance beam. It's Helen Hu.
So solid.
Helen really knows for her artistry. And now Helen Hu, if anyone can capitalize it, is one of the best beam workers in the country.
And she sticks it. That was beautiful.
First of all, the Mizzou creative Katie White that made that.
Oh my every video she makes is just top tier for real.
Yes, just so unbelievably amazing.
How many times have you watched that already today?
Oh yeah, I've watched it so many times, and then I think one of the last times I watched it, it was a very productive work day. If anyone from the journalism school is watching this video. One of the last things I noticed, I really liked how they kind of intermixed between like her doing the move on whatever she was doing on bars or on beam, and then she was doing the same thing on the stage. I think that was at the Missouri Theater. I thought that was really cool, like kind of how it intermixed together like that.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I love it. I love it so much. So why, before we get to what she actually said in the press release on one of the reasons why she was back, why do you think she's back? I think it's because she's like, they give out 10s like candy now. It's my turn to get one finally. So I think that she was missing that sweet, sweet 10. What about you?
I definitely think that's one of the reasons. I also think she probably is staying pretty up to date with the state of Mizzou Gymnastics.
Yeah.
And is seeing the way the tides were turning, not just at the end of the last season, but also, they were pretty busy during this off season in terms of the transfers they got and in terms of the freshmen that are coming up. And I think she kind of saw that where she could help out pretty easily with her bars. and that they have great potential this year, and that she was only going to help elevate that potential. So I think that has a big reason to do with it, because I think she sees the success that they could have, and why not be a part of it?
I agree with that. Maybe she'd miss school. Maybe she was just like,
she wanted a master's degree or whatever.
Yeah, go back and get a positive coaching certification or something. That's a common grad, online grad degree. Yeah, it's crazy.
Something I'm hoping that we get to talk to her about at some point, but obviously if you look at her social media, she's been all over the world the last year. So, maybe there was a little bit of soul searching done, and maybe she realized, hey, I have another year of eligibility. Why not use it? Maybe she has 2 more years of eligibility. We don't really, that's something I want to confirm as well, because she did compete in 2020. So she has that COVID year plus the injury year. So who knows if this is her only year, but
yeah, the release implied it's her only year, but technically she does have 2 years, because I don't think that just because she was gone for her traveling year,
I don't think it should affect.
I don't think that it's counted against her.
No.
But the release on MU Tigers, she said, when weighing my options, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had more to give, and that belief that I could do more. I wanted to continue helping the program grow and be a part of this really special sport. It felt like I would be missing out on a special opportunity that people don't get or can't achieve. So I felt like I owe it to myself, the sport, and the team to come back for a year, because I knew that I could. So she must have been practicing or doing something while she was.
Yeah,
because she looked real damn flexible still.
I don't know how that works when you're traveling across the world, but I mean, there's gyms everywhere, so maybe she just popped in every now and then, or when she got back from her trip, everything was just muscle memory and it came back to her quickly. Who knows?
I'd like to envision her. We really need to ask her this. So I hope that, number one, Ryan tells us when on Saturday we can go to practice. Number two, we get to talk to her.
Yes.
And ask her about this, because it is killing me. Like, when she's in Thailand, is she just finding a gym to go to practice bars?
Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? It's killing me that we don't.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how quickly or slowly that this kind of process of being back on the team takes. I don't know, if this was something she had been thinking about since the beginning of 2024, so she already started training, or if this was something she didn't, contact Mizzou and stuff about until July, and that's when she started training again. We don't really know how easy this process of getting her back on the roster might have been. So that's interesting as well.
Well, and all we really know for sure is that when I got that email from Shannon, August 15th, he said that they had a secret that was big news for the gym world. So he's been holding on to this for almost 2 months.
Who knows?
So he knew at least then.
Yeah.
So when, I want to know when it was decided.
Yeah.
Early August, early July. Was she still traveling? I don't know when she got back to the States exactly. So I wonder if it's she got back to the States and then was
wait, there's definitely an Instagram post that
she went to Adelena's wedding in July.
Her year traveling was over. Her final stop, it says June 1st.
Okay. So she was back in the U.S. after that.
So yeah, she's been back the whole summer.
And I know that she went to former Mizzou Gymnast. I'm going to butcher her last name. Her married last name is Shrimp, I think. Adelena.
Yes.
That was in July.
That was June as well.
That was June. So
Yeah.
maybe, she's back. She's hanging out with her former teammates, and she's just like,
I'm
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
We need to ask her. We need to know.
Oh my God.
So let's look at some of the reactions from the gymternet. I will tell you guys there were some with swearing words involved. I really wanted to share those, but I'm not sure if we would get in trouble for that. So I just laughed at those to myself. These are all PG rated. I'll see if I can go through them quickly. I'm also learning new gym accounts today. Like this first one, like Gymterpets.
Gymterpets really is a great account.
I didn't know that they existed.
They were excited about Helen Hu. I really like their tweets today.
Yeah. The Get Helen a 10 campaign is officially reignited. And I think they posted one after that was like, she doesn't get it this year. She's going to come back for another one.
Well, there's also one that says it's a picture of a cat who looks like it has mascara down its face.
Oh,
and it says, me when Helen Hu finally gets a 10 on beam.
And I wanted to be like, same. I mean, I'm a professional journalist. Yeah, I wouldn't cry at all. And then from our favorite announcer in the world, Kathy Johnson Clark.
Yes. Kathy Johnson, I think, is Helen Hu's biggest fan. I think one of the videos you have linked is with Kathy's commentary. She was just like freaking out during her routine at the SECs.
Yeah, I bet she wishes that she was still commentating just to watch. Well, I'm sure we'll see her commentary on Twitter, even though she's not commentating at an actual meet anymore. But it does make me quite sad.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else we have. Final Four vibes. Love it.
Hey.
Yeah,
definitely
that was another person I found today. I followed a crap ton of gymnastics people today based on I was like, I'm going to follow everybody that says cool things about Helen, which is like everyone on the internet.
The Mizzou Gymnastics page was also, I don't know if you go through their replies from this morning, they were replying to making some funny replies to some of these gymnastics fans too.
Who was that for?
The Mizzou Gymnastics page. They were.
Oh yeah, I did see they commented back on a couple of them. I thought that was hilarious. Here is your coworker Grace.
Yep, big day for
Mizzou Gymnastics today. How pumped are we? And I was like, I know this isn't addressed to me, but I'm going to respond. We're very pumped. We're very pumped, Grace. And then my coworker, Matthew, who I did not tell him that Helen was back. I gave him a hint. And he, like, basically using the word huge. And he figured it out. He's real smart.
He is.
And I was like, well, he figured it out, so I'll tell him. And I was like, and you can't tell anybody. But Matthew did say that I've turned him and his family into massive gymnastics fans. So
good.
They're understandably very excited about this information. And then let me see. I think there was one more. Oh, this one made me laugh.
I don't even know if I know which one you're talking about.
Guess who's coming for those tens this year?
Oh.
I saw one of the Mizzou fan podcasts, like the Woods and Water, or one of the Mizzou podcasts, were like did the play on the huge with
With who?
too big small GE, and I was like, I see what you did there. I see where you got it. So moving on from that fun
Well,
stuff.
should we go back and watch 2 of her best routines of her career?
Yes, yeah, that's next on the agenda. I wanted to look at what we are getting in the return of the original H squared. Sorry, Hannah Horton, you've been replaced. You know what's funny is when Helen was here, I never called her H squared, but I decided
You just did it with Hannah when she started competing.
Yeah. I guess Hannah can still have it. I think Helen's is like Huey or something like that is what the rest of the team calls her, or something like that. So specifically what we're getting back in Helen, besides just like the most beautiful beam and bars I've ever seen in my whole life, she has the second highest bar score in Mizzou history, behind only Mara, who got that 10 last year. And then the third highest beam score in program history, and that's only behind the people who've gotten 10. So Sienna Schreiber, and then I could not for the life of me remember what the name of the person was.
Somebody from back in the day.
Got the 10 before. Yeah, it was someone from back in the day.
Yeah.
I should have looked that up. So let's look at her.
Because both of her highs are 9975s, right?
Yeah. Oh, the bar's 995. Beam 975. Yeah. She's had 2 995s on bars and like 5 bazillion, I think it's like 4 or something, 9975s on beam. So Nate, this is where you're going to come in with your
yes, I was hoping to.
Analytical skills here. Because I'm just going to be like, oh, it's pretty. All right. So this first one we're going to look at is 2023 SEC Championships beam. And let me get share screen. I think it's this one.
Okay, so one thing to look out for when you're watching Helen on beam is she is very unique, and it's not, her beam routine is just way different than anything any other college gymnast is doing nowadays.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to keep the audio on the video low so you can talk over the top of it.
So she does this corporate mount, so like a back handspring swing down mount basically, and then she goes straight into a hold, which you just really never see this anymore.
It's so crazy.
Activity in this routine is exquisite. She shows off.
It's got the Y turn. Basically every skill in this beam routine, really nobody else is doing. So she's about to do 2 front aerials and land them both on one foot. Oh, she's not.
And then at one point, wasn't she also doing a scale at the end?
She was doing a scale. Sometimes she does a scale after the second one, but maybe she just took that out here.
She does technique down exactly.
Leaps are oversplit.
Is this Kathy commenting?
Yes.
Red shirt too. From Chicago coming back.
But it's just really for her beam routine. She makes it all flow together too, from the choreography from skill to skill. What makes her so good.
She can get the stick.
And everything is just so deliberate. It's just,
And the gainer full.
so incredible. God, I love it. I love it so much. And then I'm glad you knew what all of those were called. I do think I knew that dismount because that's
Yes.
Gracie Ann's dismount.
That's Gracie Ann's dismount.
Right.
A couple people do that dismount.
And I think that I had watched that her mount enough to know that it was a Corbett.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Which Corbett's, those are common, but never as a mount, which is what makes it cooler, is that she's doing it as a mount and not just on the beam.
I wonder if she's gonna bring that, like, are we gonna see like
Yeah.
full Helen Hu? Like,
Yeah.
can't believe it. Can't believe it. And then this other one is a bars from, I'm actually not sure.
Is it from SECs too or no?
It might be. It might be. It's from.
Yeah. Okay, so again, this is the routine where Kathy Johnson freaks out. So she got a church into the pack. Look how high she basically got over the bar on her pack. And she got the full pirouette into the dismount. Fix it.
Absolutely. That first skill, highly difficult. Don't see the church.
How high she gets.
Holy crap!
And the perfect toe point. Really, there's just nowhere they're deducting the skill.
So high.
On this.
That's under.
Wow. That's amazing.
I expected both of those routines to immediately insert themselves back into the lineup and to be very beneficial to this Mizzou team this year.
I think so too. So yeah, this is just amazing. So as for what it means for Mizzou, like you said, like it's adding an insanely talented person to bars and beam. It just makes the team so even, like a deep team, even that much deeper.
I also think it helps. Yes, she can obviously bring a score on beam, but I think it helps the fact, like, their confidence level on beam, because as we know, last year beam was a little bit of an issue for Mizzou. A lot of new people potentially in that beam lineup, so it's not necessarily going to be the same beam lineup as last year. But I think something that you and I were talking about before we knew Helen was coming back is, okay, no Sienna Schreiber, who's going to be this beam anchor? Like, you always want to have a strong anchor, somebody to that's always confident and is going to bring in the score. And I think Helen's going to really play into that role very well, and just not only obviously provide huge scores for that lineup, but I think provide a great level of confidence for all six gymnasts that go up on that event.
Yes, I agree completely. So this should propel them higher into potential SEC rankings for sure. It definitely increases their chances, if things go as well as we hope, of them making it back to the national championships in Fort Worth, which from talking with Kaya and Olivia, and I saw on some of their social medias, like that is their ultimate goal this season, is to get to the end.
And I think sorry, not trying to interrupt you. With the addition of Oklahoma and the SEC this year, the SEC championship format has changed. So there is going to be a there's going to be like a qualification basically to get to that night session versus just like separating the two teams. So there's going to be 2 days of SECs now. So I think that's another big goal that they're probably striving for, is to get to that second day of SECs.
Yeah.
I definitely think
Where are SECs this year?
I believe they're in Alabama.
Okay. Let me think about that. Do I need to take a trip? Do we need to go to Alabama? Maybe. Yeah, and the other thing I was thinking,
Yeah, like, talking about Arkansas. just bring us everywhere. Just
the other thing I was thinking is that, you know, she was on the team the last time they made the national championships in 2022. Yeah. So like she knows what that feeling is like. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's another one of the reasons, like she sees how she can help out this team and help them get back to where they were in 2022.
And I think that's the most interesting thing about this Mizzou team. And I guess we're kind of getting in more to our general lineup talk and everything. But the fact that they seem very senior and freshman heavy, there's definitely a ton of seniors that are going to be in the lineup, but there's also a ton of freshmen that could be in the lineup as well. And I think that's really great because you're going to have so many leaders like Helen, but also Jocelyn, Amari, Grace Ann, and all the transfers coming in too. You just have people who have a lot of experiences in the sport and in college gymnastics who, if there is a bunch of freshmen who are going to be playing big roles, will definitely be able to guide them towards being successful.
Yeah, and especially on beam, which, you know, scared me last year, not having so much more depth, I feel like, with like Addison Lawrence returning from injury and then adding back in Helen and getting these transfers. I don't think that the pressure is going to be so high for like just a tiny little group to like it be all on them. So like I put that up on the screen. So that's kind of what we had talked about when we met in our emergency meeting after finding out the news.
No, yeah, and I think these 6 names that you have in like slotted into the lineup is real. I mean, those are 6 great names right there. But you also have people on the maybe side or in contention like Rayleigh Jackson and Kai Tansonen for sure. They just posted clips of Rayleigh on beam. I think, you know, we don't know much about her, but from what I do know, I think beam is her strongest event. I think she could really help out there. So I think there are other people who, if this person needs a rest week or if we want to test someone out, they have so many options, and they have so many options of people who could basically score the same, you know? So
well, and we have like unknowns, like even though Amy Weir came from Oklahoma because she did mostly exhibition or kind of just, you know, was on a practice team almost, we don't really have that much information about her to really know what she's capable of. And I know that you talked to her for an article that you wrote for the Maneater. What did she have to say?
Yes, that's going to be coming out soon. I talked to her last week, and she did say that beam was where she's focused on. It's her what she feels like is her strongest event, and she feels like she has like gained a lot of experience just by her short time already at Mizzou, just with the different drills and practices and different types of training that they do compared to her previous training. So I mean, there's definitely a chance that she could also help out on beam pretty significantly. But similar to Rayleigh, we just don't know necessarily what to expect from her.
Right. And then the open practice that I went to, Lisa was on beam a lot, like almost the entire time. So I think that she's another one to keep an eye out for. I'm trying to think if there was anybody else. I mean, like, I just feel like like everybody was practicing beam. But Shannon did say that like some of these people, because I was like, oh, is Jocelyn going to be on beam? Because I saw Jocelyn on beam. He said, well, a lot of them practice all these different events. They just don't necessarily make it into those lineups. So like I kept seeing Grace Ann on bars, and he said that she just hadn't gotten into the bars lineup previously.
Right. Yeah.
She was doing a lot on the bar. So for that beam lineup, it really is just crazy how much depth they have.
Yeah.
Like adding in those freshmen, adding in Lauren McPherson.
Yeah. And
I really think Olivia Kelly is like
really
good.
As
long as her wrist is fine, like her routine is so beautiful.
You have Amari Celestine, who, from what we've seen on social media, looks like she's going to be doing the all-around this year. But, doing the all-around 16 weeks in a row, however many weeks it is, can definitely be pretty taxing. So there could be weeks, she's mostly a mainstay on vault and floor, and there could be weeks with the beam lineup where she just needs a rest. And I think that's good that you have these people below her that could very easily replace her on her rest weeks, and that they have options to play with.
Well, and since she took bars off all of last season, and now we know that she's back to competing on bars, knowing that it had, gave her an injury the last time, that perhaps she's not going to do it all the time. Yeah. So the bars lineup is looking pretty stacked.
Yeah. I definitely say that the fact that you could end a bars lineup with Helen Hu and Mara Titar-Sole is insanity. That's going to be so fun to watch every single week. But then you look at the beginning of the lineup and you have Jocelyn, Amari, Lauren McPherson, Kira Burns. Those 6 right there, that's an absolutely stacked lineup. But we don't even have Olivia Kelly on there, who is incredible on bars, has recorded huge.
Wait, which I left off, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
this list completely.
But she's recorded big bar scores throughout level 10.
That is an error on my part. I don't know why Olivia is not on there. She definitely should be.
Yeah,
Oh, it's because I have Raina twice. Whoops. Oh, Karen. Everybody needs an editor. What do you do when you don't have an editor and you're your own editor? You make mistakes like this. So it's just insane.
And with Kaya, you could slot in, and there's other gymnasts who have recorded good scores on bars already in their college career who could easily slot into that lineup. So it's good to have that depth.
Yeah, I know you talked to Kaya too, you talked to Kaya and Olivia, right, earlier for a different piece that had already published for the Maneater. What did you I know we're kind of getting out of the Helen talk at this moment, but I think it's fine because this is a gymnastics podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like we said, there's no rules.
Right, there's no rules. I'd rather talk about it with you than someone that doesn't care.
Yeah, both of them. For Kaya, she did say that when I asked her what her favorite skill was, she did mention her bars combo. So I assume bars is an event that she's working pretty hard on. She's posted a bunch of videos working on bars too, not necessarily all for NCAA. Some skills that she works on could be for elite, which she's showed interest in doing both at the same time. So that's really cool. But yeah, I think bars is a good event for her. Someone who, it's hard to kind of project what her bar routine would look like because she's only been doing elite these last couple of years. So we know that a bar routine in the NCAA takes about half of the skills that you would do in an elite routine.
I didn't know that, Nate.
Well, yeah.
Much to learn.
It's about half the routine. So it's harder to tell, like, which skills will she select to keep into her routine or not. But I mean, they could easily craft a strong college bar routine for her, and she could slot right into the lineup. And I think the same about Olivia Kelly too. So I think to watch out for both of those for beam and bars.
Is bars the one that Olivia does an Arabian on?
Yeah, she does her dismount is a double Arabian.
I can't remember in my head what that is, but I did, when I wrote the previews, actually look up and try to describe what it was.
It's like, so she's swinging forwards, she goes into the air, does a half turn, and then does a double salto.
which is a somersault
Yes.
for the non-gymnastics crowd. It took me a while to even get that. Like, I really needed like gymnastics moves for dummies or something to try to learn all this stuff. So you'll be here alongside me this year to teach me all that you know. So the last thing I wanted to get to was Rudy, the roster robot, offered some, which does some data combing of all of the NCAA rosters, has been updated now that Helen is officially listed on Mizzou's roster as a redshirt senior.
Mm-hmm.
And then there also were some different classifications given to Elise Tisler, who is a transfer from, is it Towson? Towson, I don't know how to say that school.
I think it's Towson.
Towson. And then Amy Weir from Oklahoma. They were both changed from seniors to redshirt juniors. And when you talk to them, they both said that they were planning on 2 years.
Both years, yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So everything's going great for Mizzou Gymnastics. I guess it's possible now. Nate noticed earlier that they could possibly be picking up another recruit. One of the girls that was here last month at one of the games, Morgan
Real.
Real?
Say her name. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm so bad with people's names if I don't hear them, but it looks like she's completed all her visits, so she's going to be deciding soon. So maybe there'll be more awesome news on the way. But yeah, I know that we're both really excited to see the team in practice. Supposedly that's happening on Saturday. I'm just waiting for some more information about that. And I know that we both just feel really lucky that we're able to cover this team and kind of cover it the way that we want. And
I feel like we should clarify. I don't know if I think we did, but Helen did compete on vault and floor before her injury and before her redshirt year. I think we're both expecting her not to do either of those events. Mizzou's looks pretty strong on both of those events. So they beat Helen the most on bars and beam. So I think it'll be okay if she doesn't do those two events. I just don't think either of us are expecting her to be in the all-around. I think she's going to be focusing on those two events.
Yeah, for sure. And they were pretty clear in the release that it was bars and beam.
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll see it once or twice if she wants to do it, but we're certainly not we're expecting bars and beam.
Jackie could just choreograph her a floor routine without any tumbling and just let her dance for.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing.
That's all we'd want to see.
I don't care about the tumbling. Like, just let me see the cool dancing.
Do some dancing and some leaps. It'll be good.
Well, I guess that's about all from us. We are so excited for gymnastics season. I wish it was here tomorrow. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Nate for being my best gymnastics teacher.
Thanks for having me on.
And maybe we'll need to do another one of these special podcasts later on, who knows?
The gymnastics news just keeps coming, so
I know, there's just so much to talk about. Yeah, look, we went 45 minutes just talking about gymnastics. On that note, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.